A deal could be in the works that would see Sony owning Square Enix in the near future. Let's talk about what it would take to make this happen and why it might be further along than you think. But before I get into it, thank you so much for watching, and also please consider subscribing because 75% of people aren't subscribed yet, and it would be very helpful. Also, like this video, comment, all that good stuff. But subscribing, that's fun too. Anyway, let's dive right in. This comes from a big interview over on gamesindustry.biz, and Eidos Montreal founder Stefan Dostus reflects on the issues he believes led to the studio's sale. And about midway through this article, as you may know, the company was sold to Embracer Group for $300 million, which is a low amount of money. It includes Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal, plus all the IPs the trio of studios had been working on. Some pretty big stuff, I believe. Tomb Raider's in there. What else is in there? I think Deus Ex is included in that list. So some really great games, and he received a lot of frantic calls when that happened. I'm going to link to this article in the description below, but the part I want to focus on is something that was brought to my attention. Maybe it was the easy way out. They might have thought that selling a superhero game is easier than a conventional game, and that was according to them talking here earlier about there was Spider-Man, but out of the people who had done it, the success rate of superhero games is not good. So anyway, sorry, that I didn't mean to read that part. Square Enix have become notorious for declaring multi-million selling games to be disappointments, and these reports this extended behind the scenes as well. He recalls a meeting regarding the company's financial performance for 2012 where the Eidos group of studios was expected to generate $65 million in profit. Instead, he was told the developers had lost $65 million that year. We were dumbfounded, he says, especially because my studio didn't have any deliverables for that year. Dostus says he began receiving messages from the team worrying about the fate of the studio and repeatedly called on management in London to discuss a solution only to receive silence. The pressure was starting to build and my employees towards me, me towards my supervisors, he says. I think when people are in a crisis situation where there's a lot of situations, you do see their core behavior or values. And I didn't like what I saw. There was really a lack of leadership, courage, and communication. And when you don't have those basic things, no employee can do their job correctly, especially when you're heading a studio. I was losing hope that Square Enix Japan would bring great things to Eidos. I was losing confidence in my headquarters in London. In their annual fiscal reports, Japan always added one or two phrases saying we were disappointed with certain games, they didn't reach expectations, and they did that strictly for certain games that were done outside of Japan. Now, if you think about this, we've actually talked about this a lot. They said that Outriders failed to meet expectations when I believe they partnered with People Can Fly. And there's a whole list of games that people pointed to where they're basically saying, you say all of your games failed to meet expectations. Like nothing ever lives up to expectations unless it's like Final Fantasy 14. So when they had this fire sale to Embracer Group for $300 million, it wasn't really a surprise to me because they were always so downtrodden about how things were going. He continues on, though, about the possibility of Sony acquiring Square Enix. He continues, if I read between the lines, Square Enix Japan was not as committed as we hoped initially, and there are rumors, obviously, that with all these activities of mergers and acquisitions, that Sony would really like to have Square Enix within their wheelhouse. Makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because they're constantly doing these exclusive partnerships with the Final Fantasy franchise, like Final Fantasy 14 is still only playable on the PlayStation console and PC. That includes PlayStation 4. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. So all the PlayStation 4 consoles and PlayStation 5. Still never came to Xbox. It's even on the Steam Deck. and it's optimized for the Steam Deck. And now Sony has these exclusivity deals with games that they're publishing, so it makes a lot of sense that they would want Square Enix in their wheelhouse. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to kind of anybody. They make Final Fantasy, which is just a money printing machine, basically. Anyway, he continues. I heard rumors that Sony said they're really interested in Square Enix Tokyo, but not the rest. So I think Square Enix CEO Yosuke Matsuda-san put it like a garage sale. That just suggests may explain the $300 million price tag for 3 AAA studios and a host of long-running IP, including the blockbuster Tomb Raider franchise. By comparison, Embracer purchased Gearbox in a deal worth $1.3 billion. They have about 1,000 staff. Eidos has about 1,000, Destu says. They have basically Borderlands and others, and Eidos has 5 times the IP, so why 4 times less? I guess there weren't a lot of key people interested, and it shows the health of the value of the potential of Eidos, unfortunately. So I have to wonder if Sony kind of tipped their hat and said, look, it's going to be too much if we try and acquire Square Enix and Square Enix on the US side, basically. So maybe by tipping their hat, they said, like, look, you keep complaining about these games not making any money, get rid of them, and then we can ink this deal. Now, a lot of people, I have to imagine, are thinking that maybe this could be happening. And that's what one user actually tweeted to Nibelian, who posted this originally on Twitter. Eidos Montreal founder Stéphane Destus gave a lengthy interview about his thoughts regarding the issues that eventually led to Square Enix selling the studio. He left in 2013. Also, this appears to be his speculation, but he has heard that Sony is interested in acquiring Square Enix, which is how he explains the rather low price of $300 million for the 3 AAA studios. It's not clear whether he refers to rumors among his peers or from the internet, mind you. This user says, trim the fat so Square Enix Tokyo is more appealing to Sony? It's what a lot of people seem to have taken away from the sale. SE trying to slim down, possibly to prepare for some kind of merger or acquisition. Say what you will about Sony, but one thing I've always said about them is that they know how to make their dollar do work for them. They got Insomniac at a steal, and now it's one of their premier studios, making some of the best games the industry has ever seen. If they've managed to work out a deal where they can acquire Square Enix, or Square Japan anyway, that could be really, really interesting. Is it going to happen though? Only time will tell. Now, if it had happened, why would they not have announced it yet? They have a lot of stuff going on right now. They have a lot of beats that they can hit. They can hit the PlayStation VR 2 experience. They just closed on the Bungie deal, so they probably have to wait for that sort of to cool down before they make another purchase. Long story short, though, time is going to tell what happens here, and they just continue making smart decisions when it comes to the studios that they purchase. This would be a major win for Sony if it were to go through, and hopefully we hear about it sooner rather than later, whether that be to refute the claim or to confirm it. Let me know if you think this is happening in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. If you like my content, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when it goes live. I greatly appreciate those of you who have subscribed, and I also appreciate our members. Thank you so much to every member that supports this channel. I greatly appreciate you chiming in regularly and hanging out. You can become a member right down there by clicking the join button. I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.